Here we're going to talk about wall type WL4060. Typically it's cable tray. We're going to be using FS1 Max and mineral wool. Application here is 1 or 2 hour gypsum wallboard. The annular space is a max opening of 30 by 9. That is the distance, the gap that we have here between the tray and the wall. The thickness of this gypsum board here is 5/8, and production rate will vary depending on the size and quantity that you have to do that day. What we're going to do now is we're going to come over here and we're going to cut some mineral wool. I'll take some measurements freehand so I know what I'm dealing with. 2 to 3 inches max, looks like here, okay? So I'll come here and I'll cut a strip. You want it to have 3.5 inches on the depth. So I'll take this here. Orientation on this is going to matter because you need to compress it. So I'll mark it here. We're going to cut 2 pieces. So we're going to keep it here so we can compress it and get a nice tight fit. Stuff this in here, uniform as possible. You want to leave yourself 1/2 inch to 5/8 of a gap that we're now going to fill with caulking. These are some specialty tools that I bought. It's a Home Depot knife, maybe $10. Measure here, cut the length. Once again, we're gonna double it up. Keep the orientation this way so we can compress it. We're gonna compress it in here. This is a simulated cable tray, by the way, made out of wood. It's not something you typically see. But for the video, this is going to work great. Let's measure the bottom here. Come over here. Cut this here. Come over here. Measure the length. Cut it off here. Once again, keeping the orientation this way so we can properly set the depth. Smash it in here. Making sure you have about that 1/2 inch depth. Now for the top, we're going to do the same. That's approximately 8 inches. That's about 6 1/4. So we'll come over here, grab our piece. Turn it this way. 8 inches. So what we're going to be doing is we're going to be stacking this one up as well, 3.5 inches on the depth. Cut a few pieces, stack them up here. Then we're going to come over here, inside the tray, okay, and we're going to smash it down nice and tight. Try to keep that same distance, same depth that we have here. Now we're going to cut another piece to fill in the top. I like to hold it up here and just measure this way. Sometimes that's easier than using your tape measure all the time. Well, we're going to go probably 2 pieces. Stack those up together here. Compress that down. We're going to compress this in here. Now, if for some reason it's a little short, your measurement is off there, that's okay. We can come, we can get some more pieces. Still make sure you have the right depth, and you can add it in there. Just like that. Now it's important that this is nice and firm, because otherwise when you start doing the caulking, when you go to push that in there, it could fall through. Doesn't really matter which way you start. Kind of start building it up here. A lot of times it doesn't want to stick. I'm gonna force it in there. I'm gonna go up and over these cables. We'll refill the gun here. What I like to do is take a pair of nippers and just cut this off. Makes it a little cleaner. Pull this out. Go over all these cables. A lot of times on the job we might have a battery powered gun, make your life a little easier. And we just want to keep building this up, building this up. The goal is to fill this whole gap. Okay, come over here to the side. Building this up. This side here. Take your tool. Something like this, I'll probably use the flat side versus the rounded side, so I'm going to try to make this uniform, seal up all the gaps and all the holes. So you can push it up against the top like this if you need to. Come in here, inside, making sure that there's no holes there. You're filling that whole gap. Come down the sides here. Same thing here. If you need to, clean your slick. Take another swipe at it. Making sure you're staying with that 1/2 inch thickness. You can come here now with the rounded side and get in here, clean all this up, making sure you're pressing on top of those cables, making a good seal. Okay? And that is a typical cable tray firecock installation.